Okay, so this is a video of where I've been to get lots of cheap records from, and it's like I heard somebody describe it as a honey hole or something, and it sort of has turned out a bit like that, really. I almost feel like saying I know the location and you don't, but I'm sure everybody, when they see a whole pile of records, and well, maybe some of the stuff they're not quite so interested in, but it's in good condition, it's cheap, you just sort of take a chance, don't you? So I think there's about just over 30 albums or pieces of vinyl here, and I can't remember if I paid sort of about somewhere between 10 and 15 pounds, so it's about 50p a piece. So I just go through them and yeah, just sort of say that sometimes you can find some um, good stuff. Right, so let's begin. So we have a Christaberg album here from the 70s, 75 in fact. Sort of a cover there. Yeah, don't really know much about Christaberg. I mean, obviously he was famous for Lady in Red. Yeah, so that's that. I think I've got another one of his coming up as well. Anyway, this I've already got this, but I picked that up. Cover version or yeah, different version of Carl Denver, I think it was. No, sorry, John Congos. Yeah, see from the Manchester scene. The B-52's 12-inch, Channel Zero. I guess this must have been around the Love Shack sort of period. Couple of mixes on there. Might be okay, I don't know. Madonna, True Blue extended version, and a full-length version of Holiday. Oh, what a... Surely that must have been a horrible cover in the 80s even. Shack Attack. And a woman there with some very large 80s hair there. Shrink wrapped Billy Joel for only £4.49 from HMV. I mean, you see this record all the time, but I thought I'd give it a go, and I should really take this off. I've just actually recently been stripping some of my better records, and generally they came off quite well, this sort of stuff. Once or twice it sort of ended up a bit sticky. I had a Pulp Fiction soundtrack which I was showing a couple of videos ago. Yeah, there it is. And it's just sticky, and I don't really know what I can do about that, really. Yeah, yeah. And it's actually even been designed like an old thumbed through paperback book with these marks on here, ironically enough. Yeah, I don't know what I can do about that, really, so there you go. If anybody knows, maybe they could pass it on. There's some 90s rap. Twin Hive, don't really know much about them. A wet, wet, wet album. Popped in, sold out. And so they did. This one has two interesting people here. This guy, this is Youth, who produced lots of people, can't remember who, James, I think, maybe The Cure, a lot of 80s, 90s stuff. Did he maybe even do Seal? I can't remember. And this guy is Jimmy Corti, I think. I can't remember where he's from, so was he to do with KLF or something? I'm not sure. But I've never seen this before. Probably never see it again, so I thought it was worth a try. It's funny because the ones that are sort of like more interesting and different, the covers aren't as good. Whereas all this sort of stuff, it's pretty like bog standard, but you know, it's just like really good condition, you know. Yeah, I would admit to liking this album. Runaway Horses, it's pretty well produced. You know, some would say very overproduced, very 90s. Yeah, sorry, late 80s, early 90s. But yeah, I like that. George Michael, I mean, I don't know, would you find that on vinyl anywhere? Just as sort of early 90s came in, you could never find as much of it. And certainly now, you probably won't find it lying around. Eurythmics, and another one there, ditto. Oh, Now Dance 1986, a compilation with many 2 hours of smash dance hits, 12-inch mixes. Yeah, the pictures there. You know, I can tell you what like number they got to in the charts, and you know, yeah, what could I say about somebody? Yeah, Grace Jones, Pull Up to the Bumper. Bumper originally made number 53 in 1981, but this remix fared much better, charting at number 40 on 14th of January 1986. It peaked at number 12 on the 4th of February. Wow. Duran Duran, first album. I quite like this. Nice bit of greatest hits of Randy Crawford on a slightly cheesy label, or as seen on TV. Yeah, oh, look at that. Lovely smile there on the back. If I only had teeth like that. Hall & Oates. A Christa just before The Lady in Red was released onto the dance floor. Yeah, don't know anything about this at all, but it could have some quite interesting synths and drums on it, maybe in a very cheesy way. But yeah, it might be alright, you know. At least he plays all his instruments and stuff, I suppose. Supertramp. This one's got a nice sort of cardboard inner, and then the inside of it is orange. Yeah, that's sort of the colour. Orangey tangerine. Tears for Fears. Seeds of Love. I suppose out of their three main albums that they did, it was sort of it was at the back end of their career. Maybe this would be the least critically acclaimed album, I would have thought, compared to the other two. Don't know what this is. No idea really. Rhythm Heritage, Sky's the Limit. Well, it's got this guy on here called Michael O'Martin. Yeah, who I've got some stuff by. So that was worth a go. Shaft, you know, not the proper version, but this is Mac, Brownie and the Brothers. Motown Story here. Pretty good nick, you know, slightly bashed up box, but all the records are fine. Aha, right. This appears to be Noah's Flood. Noah's Flood. And this is something called a miracle play, which I think they used to do in sort of the medieval times in certainly English cities where people couldn't read the Bible, or well, because of the church at the time they didn't even have access to it. So there were these plays that they did, acted out in cities with Bible stories, obviously. And this is Benjamin Britten, who's a 20th century English composer. Some sleeve notes by Yeah, sorry, I think there were some sleeve notes in here actually by Peter Pears, who I think was a sort of his, well, I think he was probably a boyfriend or something, I'm not sure, but and yeah, well, it should be interesting. It's sort of something that doesn't really come up. It's actually English, obviously, but it's actually done in cooperation with the Decatur High School in Atlanta, Georgia, with a school. Here we go, a school in Newcastle upon Tyne. So yeah, I think that'd be interesting. ZZ Top, Eliminator, Genesis, Invisible Touch. You know all these covers. You've probably seen them before. This one's a nice embossed one. Yeah. Candy's Funk. A very funky looking man there on the bongos. Donna Summer. Don't really know why I got this because I've got quite a lot of Donna Summer and I don't really listen to her very much, really. Of course, she did sadly pass away, I think was it last year. Here's a spare Thompson Twins piece of paper from an album. If anybody wants this, they can have it. It's got all the merchandise, which we all know and love. And simply, or as I would probably call them, simply pants, but a New Flame Odyssey album. Don't really know much by them at all. And the last one already. Well, I do like this band in Spiral Carpets. It's a bit beat up, the cover. I mean, not like the ones that I bought from New and I still have. But this has got some remixes on it and stuff. So yeah, thought it'd be worth a try. So yeah, that was a good trip, and it didn't cost that much. So yeah, let's see when the next load comes up and I go back there. Cheers for now. Bye bye.